Welcome to the University of Money. If you enjoy this content, make sure you hit that like button. Also, make sure that you subscribe so you don't miss out on any new videos. Today's video is part 2 of what is the worst way if you've seen someone mismanage their money. If you missed part 1, click the link below and watch that video, then come back to this one. Let's get started. Well, the accountant at the small business I work at does a lot of funny things with money. Has a perfectly good paid off car, but was slightly too old to drive for Uber to make extra money. So she got a lease on a brand new car through Uber. After a month, she found out she wasn't making enough extra money from Uber to even pay the lease. And her commute was too far to drive the Uber car to work and back because they limit the miles. After she weaseled out of her Uber lease, she decided she needed a brand new Harley that she had no idea how to drive. This was over a year ago. She has ridden it exactly once around her neighborhood. She will be paying for this motorcycle for another 4 years at least. She took out a second mortgage on her home to fix it up to get ready to sell. She is so happy with the remodel that she is keeping the house. She is a single mother twice over and is always telling us how some nice man from her church paid for her daughter's school trip or whatever. She is the dumbest person I have ever met, and I'm always a little freaked out that she is handling our money. I have an idiot friend who's getting something like 30% of his wages garnished. Why? Because he forgot to pay his student loan. He's shit at paying bills, and it's not because he doesn't make the money for it. He has a decent job. He just literally ignores paper mail and emails reminding him and then eventually demanding him to pay off things like credit card bills and his student loans. If he does bother to read them, it literally goes in one ear and out the other. Just slides right out of his mind. After a few months, he'll remember, log into his account and pay the payment in full with accrued interest and shrug it off like it's normal. Somehow he forgot to pay his student loans for something like a year and it went to collections. I told him he could even just set up automatic payments for that shit and he agrees it's a good idea and then just never does it. I offered to set it up for him and it's always later. I used to work in a bank offering investment and lending advice, car loans, mortgages, retirement savings, that sort of thing. I had a client who was a successful lawyer, and his father was a very successful lawyer. He married a successful lawyer. They made a lot of money, easily over $1 million each, so $2 million per year gross household income. Every week, they had zero money left. I tried to help by setting up an automatic contribution into a savings account. If they don't see it, maybe they won't spend it. No, they spent it. Every week, they would call me to transfer money out of savings and into their checking account. So I sat down with them and went over their budget. They didn't have one. They had no concept of what things cost. They didn't have a firm grasp of how much they made or how much they spent. They bought impulsively and recklessly. The Dodge Viper was a big thing at the time, so he went out and bought one and financed it. He didn't have space for it, so he rented space to store it. He never drove it. He had it customized with expensive aftermarket stuff. It was a work of art. I don't know if he ever drove it at all. He had no interest in showing it or anything. It was just a money pit. She had never cut her own finger or toenails. Her whole life, she had just gone for a weekly mani-pedi. More frequently, if she chipped a nail or something, she shopped a lot. She always looked amazing. They were very smart people, but had grown up with money and had no concept of it, like it will always just be there. I tried to help them budget, but that means deciding to go without something or delaying a purchase, and they had never done it before, so why start now? I left the bank and they were still going week to week. Wonderful people, but just no concept of money. I knew a guy that bought a Trans Am fully loaded and had a $700 payment in 1985. That's like $1,650 today. He ended up bankrupt. Another guy I know told me he was going to declare bankruptcy over a $4,000 debt about 20 years ago. We were riding in his late model truck. I said, "Why don't you sell the truck, settle the debt, and save up for a new truck?" He got furious and yelled at me for saying that. He ended up bankrupt and still lost the truck. I have a colleague in her mid-50s who is divorced with no kids. She is the sole means of her own financial support, i.e., no parents or siblings to fall back on. She lives alone in an apartment. She recently took out her second debt consolidation loan. As soon as she gets those credit cards maxed out, she takes out a loan, pays the cards off, and runs them up again. I'd feel sorry for her if the charges were for general living expenses, but they're not. They're for highlights in her hair, manicures, trips to the Caribbean with boyfriend de jour, those cute sandals that she'll wear twice before replacing them with cuter sandals, high-end everything, makeup, perfumes, clothing. Once in a while, she will lament about her $40,000 loans and the fact that she is literally 2 paychecks from being homeless. And I will gently point out that less trips to the salons in the islands might put her in a better financial position. I work hard and I deserve nice things. I deserve vacations. I deserve to feel good and look good. Don't tell me how to spend my money. This coming from a woman who has to pay for her lunch with a credit card the day before payday because she's overdrawn on her checking account. I've seen her do this, and she explained why she was doing it. She refuses to believe that she's the cause of her own financial difficulties. One of my old friends was living paycheck to paycheck, less than that some months. She was eating food from work for breakfast, which was one of those ice cream places. When I was asking her about her finances to see where she could cut back, she mentioned that she smoked recreational weed every day, several times a day. But she said it's only a hobby that I could stop at any time. However, she refused to stop when I told her it was a possible avenue to cut back on if she wanted to comfortably make her bills. It kind of got tiresome to hear about how she had no money for food constantly. This lady who works with me is in her early 70s, and she was complaining about not having any money and how the cost of living was rising, but her paycheck is not. Meanwhile, she has $16K in credit card debt after her daughter, she has 2 and 1 son, already paid it off once. She asked me how she could budget her money better, so I said, sure, let's take a look. Her kids pay some things, cell phone, gas card, and car insurance. So I asked her, why do you have cable and dish? She lucky to live in an area where you can get cable and internet. And she replied with, that way I can have both Hallmark channels. I understand you like your feel-good shows, but if you already get one Hallmark with cable, why do you need the second Hallmark channel? Plus, the package in cable to have your movie channels and whatnot, which also duplicate on Dish. It could save her nearly $62 per month just dropping Dish. My coworker separated from his wife, but they won't divorce. Wife does not work and has zero intent to get a job. He pays rent on the condo his wife and son live in and rent on his own place, neither of which is particularly cheap, plus payments on 2 old junky cars that are falling apart. They constantly pamper the son with new phone, new computer, etc. that he never even asked for. Send him to 2 piano teachers because they don't have the stones to break up with the first piano teacher who isn't working out anymore. And they go on vacation at least 3 times a year, all charged to credit cards that he has no intention of ever paying off. He's got to be easily 5 figures in debt by credit cards alone. doesn't pick up his phone anymore because it's usually a debt collector. Dude clears easily 60 to 70K per year after taxes and collects Social Security on top of that, and still complains that he can't make ends meet. Can't afford to retire. He'll probably literally die in his office. He's a really nice dude, but oh my God, he has no idea what to do with a dollar. My cousin's parents passed away when he was a kid, and he had a trust put away for him. People from my city also did a donation drive for him and earned him a bunch of money. When he turned 18, he was given $80,000. He blew the money in 2 months and is homeless now. He bought retarded stuff like chains, clothes, etc. Claims that someone hustled him for most of his money. Invested in friends' rap careers and everything. Me and the whole family knew he would blow the money, but it was a legal requirement to give it to him when he turned 18, even though he was currently in trouble with the law and we all knew this would happen. I had to bail him out of jail a few weeks ago. My brother's girlfriend went to a loan shark. She took out a loan for $900 and excitedly told my brother that she's making a $300 profit because she has to pay 60% interest. Brother completely freaked out and asked her, what the fuck is wrong with her? She said it was a good financial choice because they are charging her 60% interest, meaning she only owes them $600. She, honest to God, thought interest was just the percentage of the loan you pay back, not the percentage you pay on top of the loan. She also been in 3 different car accidents and has various different loans from other loan sharks to pay back. She's also in afterpay debt because she didn't know you had to make more than one payment. Just thought it was a good way to get a discount. If you enjoyed this content, make sure you hit that like and subscribe to this channel so you can check out part 3. See you on the next video.